All right, we are verse 7. Then Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth. And he spoke with them, saying, If it is your wish that I bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and meet with Ephron, the son of Zohar, for me, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me at a full price. So he's not wanting to rip him off. As property for a burial place among you.
So, yeah.
So now we're going back to Zohar.
Different Zohar.
Right. The son of Ephraim,
Yeah.
which is you said he was a Hittite?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. I remembered something.
I mean, it's gonna
But
say it in
he's also a foreigner
yeah.
in this land, right? Because
Yeah.
these are Philistines, correct?
Canaanites.
I'm Canaanites, my bad. These are Canaanites. So this Hittite is a foreigner, just like Abraham,
Yeah.
but he's already purchased this land from them,
Yeah.
whenever that was.
Yeah.
So naturally, like any other land that you buy, normally the price goes up depending on how long it's been, and also the desire
Yeah.
that somebody has for it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got an acre that has nothing but just rocky land on it, and you paid, to make it simple, $100, and then somebody else comes up and says, "Hey, I'd really like that land." Well, because you know that they're really wanting, you could double your price or triple it, whatever, because you know that they are in need of the land for something, apparently, because they're really wanting it, and you know. So here, I think we got kind of the same situation
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Actually. Like there's that, but first of all, verse 7 is topic of debate in Jewish circles, right? Because it says Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, and they're like, a Jew does not bow down to anybody but God. So what's going on here? And they're saying, oh, he's just, bowing his head as a sign of respect and appreciation. And, they still do that in the Middle East and in Turkey where, like in Turkey, if you say something nice to somebody, or say something nice about a deceased person or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or if you like the plan or if you appreciate what somebody's done for you, you can do Eyvallah.
Well,
By God, that's thank you. It's like saying thank you, and this bowing motion is what I see Abraham doing here.
let me interject this. Abraham's not a Jew at this, it's not the way I see things, okay?
Uh-huh.
Isaac, okay, Israel is, he becomes Israel,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Jacob.
So you don't have the known Jewish people until that happens, in a sense, because it's all building up to it, and they can look back now that he was a Jewish person, but the practices of the Jewish time was not set. So there wasn't that so-called rule as far as Jews don't bow to anybody. Well, he wasn't really considered a Jew until later.
Well, that depends on the meaning of Jew.
I don't know if
Right.
I'm making myself understood here, but
Well, okay. Instead of Jew, let's use the word Hebrew. Now, modern scholarship thinks that Hebrew comes from ancient Semitic word Habiru, meaning nomads, and that could be part of it. But the word Hebrew in Hebrew is Ivrit, if you're speaking of the language, and it means someone who stands on the other side. And the connotation is Abraham draw this line spiritually.
Mhm.
Y'all are over there in the pagan world. I'm over here on God's side. And this line I do not cross. So in that sense, he is the first Hebrew.
Okay.
So the first Jew. So, of course, Jew, the word Jew comes from Yehuda, which is one of the sons of Jacob, one of the sons of Israel. And so you can't really say he's the first Jew, but in the spiritual meaning, he's
Exactly.
the first Jew.
But,
But yeah, nobody in his time would have called him a Jew because the
Right.
word Jew didn't exist.
and normally, bowing to somebody isn't, he wouldn't have been disrespecting God by bowing to that person because it was respect. Out of respect. It's like when you always see people in China always bowing to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a custom. So if I were to go there, to be respectful and not to disrespect any of my beliefs, I would bow because that was their custom.
Yeah, the only problem with that is that at this time, in this geography, bowing down is a active form of worship.
Was he bowing like Chinese do, or was he down on his hands and knees in a bowed position?
And that's the discussion. Right?
So I'm thinking that he's just bowing.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like I said, I think he's just doing this.
uh-huh.
Hey, blah, blah, blah.
Okay,
You know, thank you. But so I agree with you on that case. But I was just bringing up the mindset of the earlier commentators and like something that they saw that was rubbing them the wrong way and how they were dealing with it.
Okay.
Yeah. But where was I going with that? Oh, and I forgot again. So we're talking about power politics, right? And we're talking about the art of the deal. Like you said, and we're going to see this in verse 10. So next verse, but Ephron was a Hittite. So he's also, like you said, a resident alien, a Ger Toshav. And this is important because in verse 6, the leaders of the city, the sheikhs in today's Middle Eastern language, the princelings, the big chiefs say, bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will withhold from you his burial place, that you may bury your dead. They're saying, yeah. By saying that he was a Nasi Elohim, that he was a prince of God, that he was a prophet, it's also saying, you're really one of us. None of us are going to keep anything from you. Ask, and it shall be given. Take one of our places. You're a man of great esteem. You should have one of our burial places. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. They are the resident families. They're the natives. Their families have been there for generations. That means their burial plots, because they don't have cemeteries like we have today. They have family burial plots. Everybody owns their own plot. Everybody, has either a cave or a man-made some kind of a structure on their property for this purpose. And it's used generation after generation after generation. What does that mean? Well, if Abraham buys one of their plots, there's already bones in there. And here's how burial practices work. And I couldn't find any. Let me rephrase that. I didn't have the time to actually go and look for archaeological studies on Canaanite burial practices at that time, but we know that Jewish burial practices are related to burial practices in that time. So looking at that, I'm making the assumption, and that might make a donkey out of me, but it's an educated guess with better than 50% probability that there's parallels. And here's the rub. In ancient Israel, the cave would have had a bench carved out of the rock, and there would be under the bench there would be a hole, kind of like a room dug out. And what would happen is they'd bring the dead, they'd wash the dead, purify the dead, they'd rub ointments and salves on them made from various
Herbs.
thank you, herbs that would both help mask the scent of death and attract insect activity, so that the bugs would do their thing and decompose the body. And on the yahrzeit, on the anniversary of the deceased passing, they'd go back and the bones would be picked clean, and they'd collect the bones and put them in what's called an ossuary box, and that reminds me, a while ago they found a box. I don't know if you heard of this. They found a box in Israel from the 1st century AD that was very interesting, because it said, James, the son of Joseph, the brother of Yeshua, the brother of Jesus.
I've seen something like that.
Now, Yeshua is a very common name. Joseph is a very common name. James is a common name. Yaakov. So it's not necessarily
That
one, but what are the likelihood that all three names are mentioned in the appropriate order?
Mm-hmm.
And why would they put the brother of if the brother that he's the brother of was not famous, right? But that box, the ossuary box, is what they'd put the bones in, and then they'd take that box and put it in the little room that they dug out under the bench, and that would be the final resting place for those remains. So here's the problem. If Abraham buys one of their lots, or as the discussion seems to suggest, they allow him to use it, that place already has ossuaries in it. They already have bones in it. What do you do with those bones? Do you leave them in place? You can't move the dead. That's disrespectful. So whose burial place does this become? Theirs or his? Because what if people from his descendants, somebody from his descendants, and somebody from their descendants die at the same time? Who's going to use the bench? There's so many things going on. So it's a ruse. It's never going to happen. It wasn't the case. But they're saying, you deserve a great place to bury your dead, a man of great stature. And Sarah was a woman of great stature. She was an amazing person. God rest her soul. May her memory be a blessing. It's you're choosing. You're picking. Where would you like to bury her? It's furthering the negotiations. And he goes, go talk to Ephron for me if I found favor in your eyes. So he's saying, look, I can't take them up on their surface level offer, because it would cause trouble. I don't want to disrespect them by taking them up on this offer and causing all this trouble, because it would be a problem for me and Isaac after me. And, you know, it's just him. He has no brothers to protect him. It's just him. What's going to happen if I do something so outrageous? So he goes, who is there? Well, I don't want to disrespect anybody in the town either, because who knows who has whose ear and what could happen from it. I could cause a popular uprising against me or Isaac. So let's avoid that. Ephron here is like me. He has no power base here. You know, he's not one of the natives. So, and the word in Hebrew is it means to intercede. Would you intercede for me? Would you go and talk to him? Because guess what? I'm a resident alien. He's a resident alien. I have no power over him. I can't tell him. I can't force him to do anything. I can't twist his arms. I have no leverage. But guess what? Y'all are the leaders of this city. He has to listen to you. So if I find favor in your eyes, do me a favor and go talk to him. You twist his arm. Because he has to listen to y'all. Because he has the same concerns that I have. He came here for the business. He came here to make some money, earn a living. He doesn't want to shake that up. So he's going to go along with the go along.